So I told you before we're going to have a bit of business. We have to do our business before we start. Because I'm trying to make this podcast like money, cake, I wanted some some cheddar, So I got to get these new sponsors. So I might as well do it because we have such a good show. Then I'll do it right now. Get all the business stuff done. Then we'll do a theme song. Then we'll have the real show. Okay. So the business. So I have to get this new sponsor, and it's called smoothmyballs.com or something. Smooth my balls, right? So I wanted to have them as a sponsor. Someone sent me something on the Instagram, and it said, "Hey, you might be a good candidate for the Smooth My Balls because of your podcast." So I said, "Okay, how does this work?" So they send you this clipper, this like electric shaver in the mail, and I got to admit, I didn't read any instructions.
Oh my goodness!
Just winged it.
I looked and thought, I had every intention to, before I did this review, to read the instructions to see if I did something wrong. Because I'm supposed to give an honest review, and then I'm supposed to post this review on the Instagram or something, and then they're sponsor of the show, and they send me 2 more items, okay? But I can't lie. I'm like George Washington or something like that, I cannot tell a lie. I'm only want sponsors on my show that I believe in, and I'm going to tell my listeners the honest to God truth about Smooth My Balls. But then I have to put this honest to God truth that I'm going to tell onto the socials with their tag, and then they're supposed to become a sponsor of our show.
Nice.
But this is unflattering because it's called Smooth My Balls, right? No, I'll tell you.
I want to smooth my ass.
Do you?
Yeah, do they make one of those too? I
Well,
want to smooth my back too.
Well, everything. Yeah, I was like, I am usually like I should have about a quarterly shearing, where I just get sheared.
Yeah, just
quarterly, and so I was overdue, and I was waiting for the Smooth My Balls thing to come in the mail or whatever. So I get it, and I put on one of the attachments, and right away I do my chest hair, and I just shear myself real quick, and for that, worked great. Worked great. I'm not going to say anything negative at all. It was every bit a good trimmer. The thing even, easy to use, can use it, great, perfect product. Then I look at the name, Smooth My Balls. Smooth My Balls, right? So I don't want to I got an attachment because I like to leave a little stubble so that the ladies still know that I'm a grown-up,
Right.
And then...
it's a fine line, though. Eh?
You
don't want
yeah.
to look like you shave your chest.
I don't want to shave my chest. I want to look like a man. I just don't want to look like, gross.
A bear.
Yeah, bear. So then with my balls, the product's called Smooth My Balls. I have to figure smooth balls. I'll go smooth. Take the thing off. Take the attachment off. And then I try to make my balls smooth, right, with it. But I cut myself 3 times with it.
Did it say cut my balls anywhere in the...
Well, that's what I think the product should be called, is cut my balls, because it cut my balls 3 times. 3 times I was like, there's... when it starts bleeding on your balls, you don't know if it's going to stop. Mm-hmm. If it gets near that big fucking black one, that's not good at all.
You got to trade that thing in.
Well, that's all I'm saying. If you put an attachment on it, you can get stubbly balls safely. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to take that attachment off, you're running your risk.
Do you think it would smooth your taint?
I would have to put an attachment on to make sure it didn't cut my taint, right? Because I don't want to cut, and then it's not smooth. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get like a little bit of stubble. So I don't know what you want. I think a Dixie razor, if you're going to go smooth, just use your wife's Dixie razor.
So this thing could be like
you don't want to share razors, though. Just get your own
Why?
razor. They say it's bad. You're going over, who knows what you're going over with that little razor, and you're spreading that.
Hair follicle juice? To your wife's hair follicle juice? Well, my ball juice? You know what? When I got married in the Catholic Church, Ryan, we had a candle, me and my wife, right? And we lit them from our own family candles, and then the two became one. The two became one. I don't know if you did that in your mass.
Did do that, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, then at that time where the two becomes one, I'll take your goddamn razor and shave my balls with it, right?
Good for you.
And I'll also use her toothbrush or whatever, and then she can also sit on my face if she'd like.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
it's one of those arrangements that's what that means in church.
I had no idea. The priest didn't explain it well to me.
Oh, you got to go to the meeting before.
I went to a courthouse. I didn't get that there.
Oh yeah, no, that's what it all means. That candle thing,
Damn
man.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should've
candle
been
thing's
cat-
Well, we
big.
share toothbrushes.
Would you share a toothbrush?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually gross. I would never do that.
No worries there. Not razor.
Anyways, so shave my balls, smooth my balls. Sorry, that's it. That's the real honest to God ad. If you're going to be a sponsor of my show, I mean, I'm still telling people, I don't know who's going to buy one, cut their balls with it.
Maybe
Yeah, who
prep
don't
my
want to buy
balls.
one now after that nice advertisement?
Well, I got to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Then they're not going to be a sponsor.
Maybe prep my balls for the daisy.
Oh,
You could do like a good hedge trimming and then get the daisy if you need to go smooth.
maybe what we need is a good salve sponsor to follow it up, or a good bandage or Band-Aid.
Whatever boxers use on cuts.
Yeah, Vaseline,
Is that what it is?
isn't it?
Yeah.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah, Vaseline you can use for a lot of things.
And then, yeah. But if you put too much Vaseline on,
What happens?
it might grow.
What?
If you repeatedly rub it on.
On your
things
cut?
Yes.
Then you're... I don't know what you're saying, Kev.
Maybe your ween will grow.
Your ween... Oh, is it cut on the wiener?
Yeah, I guess it's not shave your ween, it's shave your balls.
Oh, I'm lost, but sticking your finger... So if you... in your... with Vaseline into your, open wound on
Just
your
use
balls...
coconut oil. It's way better.
Oh,
go.
Anyways.
I like
Hey, buy it at your own risk, is what I'm telling you. If you want to buy smooth your balls, buy it at your own
You
risk.
can eat coconut oil.
Yeah?
More multi-purposes.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, though. If you're going to go coconut oil on your balls, if you're going to give your wife the choice, that's not you want to go something
Better than
sweet.
Vaseline.
Oh, yeah, Vaseline you want on your balls.
No.
No one's eating that.
Some coconut oil. He's thinking.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thought.
Anyway.
Not idea.
Come on, we're in the business
Let's get this party
portion.
started.
Whoopsie.
We're in the business. What else do I got on my business list? Robot, hard. And did I do it all? Oh, no. I can end the show with our hard boob disagreement, and then we can just get the show started.
All
That's
right.
better because we have way too much to talk about. So what we should do is do the thing that we do that makes the show good, and then I can introduce everybody.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the Dutch Hall. It is a very nice night in the pool shed, and we have our guests tonight. Very nice to have them both back in the hall. It's been way too long since we've had them both in as guests. We're going to introduce them right off the bat. We have Ryan and Lisa VandenBussche, everybody. Of course, many of you will remember Ryan for his many years in the NHL as a hockey player. And you'll remember Lisa as many years as my sister, right? And Kevin said one time, me and you did a podcast, Ryan, and he said that it was not only one of the best Dutch halls he's ever heard, but one of the best podcasts he's ever heard, is what he said.
Oh, wow.
That's true. That was
Was it Going to War? Was that
when you went to Afghanistan?
Okay.
the
Yeah.
Going to War with Ryan VandenBussche episode?
Yeah, didn't want it to end.
That was probably one of the
That was
first
a good
ones, right, Pete?
I can't remember because there's quite a few. You're on the top 10, I think, with 2 of them.
How many podcasts have you done so far?
This is like 365.
Wow.
I think. 365 or so.
A year's worth.
Yeah. If you listen, because most of them, they average over an hour too. So when you talk about like 400 hours of podcast material.
Podcast excellence.
Yeah. Well, it's not all excellence. I might only have about 120 hours of excellence, and the rest of it's shit. But there is some good stuff in there.
Fucking right.
Yeah, there's enough to sift through, eh? And that's why sometimes I'm like, I had written off certain episodes thinking that, man, no one likes those things, and like especially in the summertime because people are usually outside enjoying life. And then, you don't look at the stats for a while, and you go back and you're like, oh, shoot. Like people that eventually, get it, eh?
So can you check out, where they're, what country they're from? You can do a background check on that?
You can see kind of like rough numbers, what countries are listening. And then certain countries will give you, by state or by province, But then... most of them just the country numbers.
But they don't give you email addresses, right? So you can.
No. That's what I wish. I wish because we only get a few that'll give us proper feedback, okay. And then there we go. But then the rest of them, I don't know. I just have to take it for granted. Is there really somebody in, Ireland listening, or Great Britain, or whatever? But you do start to know as numbers come up. When it's the same place over and over again, then there probably really is somebody in, Virginia, for example. There's people in Virginia, and it used to just be hey, Virginia never showed up as one of the states that listened, and now they're all of a sudden showing up. And now they're the top state that listens is Virginia. So, it's probably something going on in Virginia of people listening to old episodes or something.
You have a little cult following in Virginia.
Maybe. I'll go there, too. I'll go anywhere. Yeah. We were number one in Holland. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, we were one day number one in Holland.
Can't beat that.
On the Apple charts,
Cool.
Yeah, no one could beat us. We were number one.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day number 2, and then number 7. But still, we were number one for a day. But I don't know if that's real. But it's you get these stats sent to you, and you're like, okay. And then you find different places where you can integrate them all. But
so is that a certain category or is it just podcasts across the
podcast for stand-up category.
Yeah.
And then that was where I was number one.
Right on.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still cool. There's 10 charts or something, 10 different countries where we're on the different charts. I think there's Canada, Australia, Holland, and then there's Philippines and Poland and Denmark, and what am I missing there? That's all I can really think of.
Australia? Did you say?
I said Australia. Yeah, Australia. There might be one or two that I'm missing out of there, but there's but they're regular that I show up on their charts. So I'm hoping that they might be real someday, so that I can actually go there. Kevin wants to go there too, because that's why he kept bringing up Australian bits, because we were getting feedback from this guy from Australia.
I missed it. Sorry.
That's okay. I went so fast through it that there's no way for you to catch it. Because if I said we kept getting feedback from this guy from Australia, see how I did that?
That's good.
Yeah. When I go I was blew it past. It set him up to fail, eh? Anyways, this is the introduction. Lisa and Ryan. Beside them, the guy running the board and doing a terrific job, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin VandenBussche, everyone. And really, we gave him such a minor role in this show. We're only going to show his mustache and mouth in the top corner of one of the screens, and that's how little role he's gotten. But he still does exist in the room if he wants to pipe in at all. Ladies and gentlemen, Robot Charters is here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, thank you, Dave, for coming in here.
Thanks a lot, Pete.
There you go. And that's about enough, to be honest, of you. So and I am your host, and two times President's Club Award winner, Pete Van Dyke, everyone. Kind of anticlimactic introductions today, this time. But we have a good show for you today. We have, as I said, Ryan and Lisa VandenBussche, who have come into the hall. They have been on a great journey where they've traveled far and wide to go on an exploration of yourself. Would you say? Would you say that's a good way to describe it? An exploration of self,
Spiritual journey.
and it's one of these things that I've always been curious about. And actually, I had the opportunity because of you guys to actually join you on this trip, but I did not qualify. I was disqualified because of my cuckoo head. And it is. I would like to talk to you about the whole trip. It was ayahuasca and what's the other one?
Cambo.
Cambo.
Yeah.
Cambo was like a. This was like a retreat of some sort. It was a retreat, right?
Yeah.
And there was Cambo and then ayahuasca that you do. And what would what made you aware of it? Like what made where did it come into your you're not like when did you start knowing about ayahuasca, and when did you start thinking that it might be something that you guys would look into? Even thinking about?
I think it was like 10 or so years ago. It was a long time ago that we first talked about it. But then we kind of looked into doing it, and we kind of got discouraged because you don't know, if it's safe, if they're legitimate.
Right, right.
Cannabis, weed brought us to this vine. Is what so as soon as I started using cannabis on a regular basis, somehow I looked up ayahuasca. This was probably 2012, and started learning about it then, 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
And then so that was on our radar then. About like Lisa said, you don't know who to trust, right? And then sorry, finish.
And then we had like a business partner of Ryan's who has always. I guess he's been like 10 to 12 years in a row.
That he's done this experience before?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
So
you had someone you kind of trusted, and you knew that, okay, this is something that would be like the real deal.
He's done it a dozen times, right? So he had a pretty good feel for what's going on. And
then you thought of me, too, which was very nice, right? And you said that was because of the toad one, right?
Well,
I gotta write it down.
So it's combo.
So
it is
Kambo.
An Amazon tree frog that secretes a poison, and they take the poison and they actually do a little burn, and then they put the poison in your burn, and the onset is very quick, but it's a lymphatic system cleanse, so you'll feel it in your lymph nodes. Your lymphatic system actually doesn't have a pump, so this actually helps you like squeeze it out the junk, and it will also travel down and do an organ cleanse. But it's like having a flu for 30 minutes. Yeah. It was pretty intense, but it leaves just as fast as it comes.
So you like puke and shit?
Yeah, you do.
That's what you do?
People puke like fluorescent yellow, or which is supposed to come from your liver, and then there's like a browny red that's got more of a gallbladder cleanse.
I've got pictures on my phone I can show you. My puke.
Of your puke?
Yeah, and your sister's too.
What color was yours?
Very yellow.
From all your boozing?
I don't booze hardly anymore.
Well, you did.
Yeah,
you did.
Maybe. Yeah.
Right.
Who knows what was coming?
If you you want to know why you don't do it anymore?
Why?
Because you drank it all.
That's right.
It was enough.
Yeah.
You were full for the rest of your life. You didn't need it anymore.
Yeah. Like I'm hungover every day already.
I know that's what I think too. I mean, it's like I say it's like mashed potatoes. You know, like my mom made mashed potatoes every day for supper. It seemed like, and I'm just ate enough of them. Like I'll never eat another mashed potato again. And that's how I feel with booze. I drink so much booze that I just don't feel like I have to drink anymore.
Did someone have to guide you through it?
Yeah, they do a ceremony. So they
with the toad thing or the tree frog thing? Is
Yes.
a ceremony?
Yep.
Oh wow.
They do a saging at the beginning, and there's songs that they sing while doing it.
Saging is like burning sage leaves, right?
Yes, and you smudge around to clear the energy.
And who's doing this?
The man that gives you the combo.
Is he the same? Okay, and so he's like a shaman of some sort, or he's the
guide or whatever.
He is the guide.
the guy that knows how to use this stuff.
Right.
And but he's also doing the leaves thing.
Yes.
All right.
But he was not for the ayahuasca. He was there was
just for the combo.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a shaman, a Shabibu shaman, that did the ayahuasca.
So like the combo, it would kind of like cleanse you so that you got rid of some of the toxins and stuff like that before you were to do the ayahuasca.
It's like cleaning house before you have a visitor.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, and then so like this is done like pretty much as soon as you get there, right?
Yeah, we did it the first day and the second day.
First 2 days, yeah.
And then the third day we did ayahuasca, fourth day ayahuasca, fifth day combo again.
Oh, combo again.
So it's not
3 combos, 2 ayas.
And the third combo, would you still be puking and shitting?
Yeah.
Not me. I did not.
I did both.
Yeah. Yeah. You. Jeez.
It was full of crap, I guess.
For all 3? And what
No.
color was yours?
I got sick the first 2, and it was the first one. I was completely clear. My vomit was clear. It was weird.
What's that mean?
I don't know. They didn't seem to tell me.
Maybe you're the chosen one.
And then the second time, it was yellow like liver, like a fluorescent yellow. And then the third time, it was yellow again. And then I ended with a bathroom trip.
Oh, yeah. I know what clear is. Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. So it was all those mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So I just want to. So then, what are they feeding you when you're there?
So at the pretty much 2 weeks before you go, they ask you to eat clean, like try to no sugar, salt, red meats, pork, no alcohol, no nothing. Like try to get off of if you're on any medications or.
Yeah, no smoking, no weed.
smoking.
No SSIR is like a month prior.
Yeah.
Anything synthetic.
Yeah. And then while we were there, it was completely vegetarian. Oh, no, we had fish.
Yeah.
It was really good. There was a chef that cooked really
Clean eating. No salts and sugars and nothing like that.
no spices.
No spices?
No spices.
Oh, why? What are spices? Are they too acidic or something?
A lot of spices have sugar in them too.
Oh yeah. So then you like for the toad one or for the combo one, you're like it feels like you're kind of like detoxing in a way, getting rid of stuff.
Most definitely.
And then you say once it's finished, then you feel better. Like, do you feel like that was like a cleansing thing, like to get rid of that stuff?
I really felt that relief after my third one. So the other 2, I kind of felt like I was just back to normal.
Oh, you're just happy not to be puking and shit anymore.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like an intense flu.
And then, but you didn't feel like like you go if you're like drinking and then you puke and then you're like, oh man, I feel better. Like, no, I got that out of me. Like that wasn't kind of like that.
Not really, no.
All right, so that one just seems like
If you weren't puking or shit and you're like shivering or you're sweating.
right. But so it seems to me that if it was not an ayahuasca and Cambo retreat, if it was just a Cambo retreat, that you guys wouldn't go back, right?
No, I don't. I wouldn't just go for
the Cambo.
Yeah.
So
Because that was my option. That was actually my option, right? Because the dangerous part was the ayahuasca for me, because they said I could have a manic episode afterwards that could last a long time, and then but I could still do the
combo,
but it would have just been able to. You guys would have. I don't think that would have been a good trip for me. Now hearing this,
it would be pretty. It would be all right to sit in and see the spiritual journey, though, and listen to the stories and
I agree.
People talking openly about traumas and things in their life. The love and compassion was something that I've never seen before. Like, we were with those people for 7 days, and the love and compassion that we left with, it was like we were a family. Like, we all went through something really spiritual and meaningful, and it was...
So do you actually talk then as a group then too?
Yep.
Like with who?
So...
like who moderates it or whatever?
Well, like, before you even start, you have kind of a meeting with the shaman. His name was Joe. And you set your intentions. And then we went and did the ayahuasca. And then the following day, we would have like a morning circle talk. And then you share your experience of the night before. And he has some like guiding of like what it could mean if you're confused at what you saw or felt. And it was really, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's kind of like therapy in a way, you know?
Oh, most definitely.
And then at that point in time, and then you're doing that as a group then. So you're hearing everybody's experience,
Right.
And how different that it is.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are, they're a little apprehensive to do something like this because of the fact they feel like they may do something stupid under the influence or whatever. But leave your ego at the door and don't worry about it, because I like to say you're almost in another dimension in a way, but you're not doing anything crazy. Like, you're in a dark room, it's very quiet and it's peaceful, and the whole experience was just never was I once scared, but it was very surreal at the same time.
And so like for the ayahuasca experience, can you walk me through like the first one and how, like, do you do it at the same time? Do they bring you in one at a time to do it?
So you're in a room and everybody has kind of a yoga mat and blankets and pillows. Everybody has a bucket for puking and like a toilet, like some tissue to if they cry or whatever. But it starts with smudging again.
What does that mean, smudging?
So the sage.
Oh, yeah.
And like everybody's energy is cleared, and then Joe, the shaman, calls you up, and you get it's a tea, and
it's like in a Dixie cup, about 30 milliliters.
Oh, yeah.
And you drink it, and then you go back to your spot, and you're supposed to sit upright as long as you can, so that the medicine can go down, and then just kind of wait for the onset. My first time, I didn't feel really anything, so I actually got a second cup, and then Joe asked me to come up to sing to Icaros to me, which are, I don't know if you've ever heard of Icaros, but it's like it was like sound waves. I've never heard a human make such noises. I thought he had an instrument in his mouth or something, but it was just his voice. And it actually is a language, but to me it felt like sound waves cutting through my body.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went back to my spot, and then for me, while he was singing, it started to like really pull at my insides, and I then got nauseated, and I had these like feelings of having to get these things out, like down deep. And then I started seeing like flashbacks of my childhood, and like
clear visions of it.
Clear visions of like different aspects of my childhood, and there were questions on why I was seeing these things, and then I processed that actually later. I had a moment where my best friend's mother had passed away when I was a teenager in a tragic car accident. So I actually felt like I had a conversation with her, and that was pretty cool. And yeah, and then I just had flashbacks, or like I had a flash of my daughter, but kind of more in the present. Like,
this is all in the first one?
This is all in the first one.
And once it took 2, and then how long is this whole thing?
So the ceremony started at 8, and everybody was kind of eating supper by 2 in the morning. Like, I would say that at 1:30, he said the ceremony was done, and
so like
4 to 5 hours
for hours though.
How long did it feel like it was though?
2 hours.
Yeah, maybe an hour, I would think.
So it went by quick.
Although I was sick, so I would have a flashback, and then I would have a puke but it just seemed to go by so fast. But at the same time, I was like, is this ever going to end? But it was everything that came through, like some of my traumas that I've had in my life came through in a very loving manner. It was very compassionate, and it was like a new view of looking at. And some of the things that came up, I didn't even know I had in me, I guess.
What about you, Ryan?
So while she's puking, I'm just laying there, like I'm literally right beside her, laying on my back, my arms crossed in front, like I'm in a coffin, and I was my initial experience was I felt like I was a molecule in the atmosphere, or like it was just, I was stripped of everything.
Wow.
And I was nothing. Like we are nothing, really. No thing. We are. And it was very it's like grounding. It was I don't even know how to explain it, but
did you see something?
I saw a lot of geometric shapes and stuff like that. Nothing real crazy there, though. But I was like, literally, I felt like I was nothing out in the universe. And then it's like I went to this time warp where I was like, now I'm back into where I'm at. My eyes are closed this whole time. And like there's this, like what seemed to be like a skill saw. Like I went in there with the intention of physically healing and emotional healing, spiritual, all that, but my main thing was I wanted to physically heal and deal with chronic pain, which is distracting. And so my first experience was that out in the cosmos as a nothing, and then boom, back into the room where this what looked like a skill saw coming towards my head. And some of the advice was before we did this was just ask how you could serve, just accept it, whatever's happening. And I was totally accepting of everything that was happening. And I was just, I felt like I went right through my skull and brought this green healing neon light that's flowing around my brain, and then it was highlighting certain parts of my face. And I wanted to know why it was doing that, and then later I just, like Lisa said, you process things later, and you realize, like, okay, this side of my face, I've been over 300 on ice bare knuckle fights. I'm usually fighting righties. They're usually hitting this side of my face.
Yeah.
That's why. It's wild. And sometimes when you're in scrums, like in the corners or whatever, and the rest are around trying to break everything up, and when you're in a scrap, your goal is to get the guy down to the ice, and that's basically it. And sometimes you can't pull your arm back to throw a punch, but what you can do is you can poke you can put your thumb into a guy's eye. Like, that's the shit that happens behind, you don't really see it. And so I've had that happen a number of times in my throat too. And so it kind of highlighted a bunch of little areas that, that I had some trauma, and I consider that somewhat trauma. It's like it's a one-on-one combat, right? And you have this energy so built up because when you're going into to do battle, it's like you could get hurt, right? So you have this fight or flight response always. And I feel like since the experience with ayahuasca, I have a little bit more empathy, and I have a little bit more compassion, and I feel like I can understand certain things. Like another quick one, I'm not going to talk too long about this, but if ayahuasca, like you may go in there with an intention and wanting to heal something, but Mother Ayahuasca will give you maybe not necessarily what you want, but maybe what you need. And so I had another experience about a flashback of my father when we were younger, when he left us when I was like 10 years old, and it was an emotion that I held in that I didn't even realize that I was holding in, and I had some sort of resentment against him and his wife, right? And so I come to closure on that, and I explain that to them, and
you feel lighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Never talked about it, never wanted to talk about it. I was afraid to talk about it.
Yeah,
but it made me want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's really cool because Lisa came back, and you guys going through this experience, and I've been going through I've been working really hard with therapy for probably since like last September. It's like almost a year now, but like intense therapy, and then I was really working hard at it, like a full-time job. And it's like a lot of the things you were saying, it was like a lot of the same things that I ended up realizing or coming to terms with through all the intense work I was doing. You guys did it in that week,
Yeah.
which is like, it's got to be like exhausting, isn't it? Because I know how exhausted I get sometimes from 1 hour of therapy.
They say it's like 10 years of therapy all in one
night.
And when I got home, like, at least, like, I'm not a good sleeper, right? 4 to 6 hours. I haven't slept so good in my life, like, without even being on my regime. Like, I've been sleeping really, really good, getting close to 8 hours, almost straight, which is weird.
I wonder how much it took away, like, from your subconscious, just running, allowing you just to relax,
quietens your mind.
Yeah, it just makes you like, just one less thing to like have a source of tension and all the rest of it. Like I know, the stuff that I didn't think was a big deal at all, and like because I was like, that stuff doesn't bother me. Like from when I was a kid, like that's like a long time ago, and I moved past it. Everybody's moved past all these things, and then you're like, but it's not about that. It's about like that little kid response that made these like big judgments of like how you still live your life as an adult. Like you still like if an experience that made you scared as a kid will make you scared as an adult. Something that reminds you of it as an adult will elicit the same response that you had when you were a kid, So you need to deal with it because it's not something that you think about in your grown-up head. It's what your old subconscious head is still letting you believe is real,
Much like psilocybin, like they say, you do a macro dose of magic mushrooms, it's where emotion meets reality. And ayahuasca, I felt, is pretty similar. It's your emotion that you have suppressed, and you don't even know what you're suppressing sometimes, and like until you go into a deep therapy, like what you're doing, whether it's talk therapy, which takes a little longer period of time, or it's using plant medicine.
Yeah, I think like whatever gets you there. I think maybe those are. I think that whatever gets you there, because like I know that if you're not like if you're just trying to think you're going to go to like trip balls, you just want to have a good time and like trip balls and see space or whatever you're going to do. It doesn't work, right?
It's not a recreational drug. No, it's all for, you want to help yourself. You want to be You just want to be better.
But it won't even work, right? Like it won't. If you take it with that's your intention, it's not going to do anything for you, you know. And or if you don't need it, if you're fine, you know, like you didn't really have a calling to, or a draw to it, you know. You just like
Murray.
You know, like you just like if you're like a well-adjusted person, you're kind of like you don't really have a need for it, then you're gonna probably not. It's not gonna do anything for you, you know. And I think for those that's what I think is kind of cool about. You hear about DMT the same way. It's like you can't take DMT like all the time because it won't work anymore, and then it doesn't teach anything. Even weed, you don't get baked anymore when you do it all the time. So then you don't learn that much, you know. Maybe you're still getting the benefits of like, you know, inflammation or it calms you or puts you at ease, but it doesn't really give you that like teaching that it does when you did it sparingly or when you needed it, you know.
Well, I have to say that there was the point when you were in the medicine and then you were done, but you started processing everything that happened, and that processing, I think, is even still happening now. Like, it's the effect of that small time. You have a lot to think about, and it shows you a lot of things about yourself, and just, yeah, it was beautiful. I definitely had a lot of emotions that I suppressed that I didn't know. Like when I went through breast cancer, I had a pretty strong attitude that I was going to be fine. Mm-hmm. But in ayahuasca, it kind of kept me thinking that I was sick, feeling sick, and it was all the times that I did stuff when I was sick, and I should have said I'm sick, but instead I plowed through. I'm going to be fine, you know.
Yeah. Pleasing everybody.
I was suppressing the sick, you know.
Yeah. It's funny. I learned the same thing in therapy too. Like, you're not supposed to push through, and I'm like, I totally thought that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
What you're supposed to do. Me too.
I like literally my entire life thought pushing through is the only way to do it, you know. But they said no, you can do more damage than good. Sometimes you need to rest, and I didn't know that, because I wish I knew that earlier, because I wouldn't have burned out. But that's what happens, you know. Like, and you plow through all the time. But anyway, it's kind of cool how you figure these things out, you know. And then you wish you would have known it forever, you know. I wish you would have, like, how many years could you have saved, or how much like grief could you have, like, you know, saved yourself if you would have dealt with this.
The integration, like the talk therapy is you know, especially important too, to be able to explain to your group like what we did prior to ayahuasca, and then to share your experiences post ayahuasca is pretty cool to do that. And then again, another you know, Zoom call with the same group, and we all take turns talking, and when you're done talking, you say aho, and then it moves on to the next person. So you
still do that now since you've been home?
We just did it, a few days ago.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's good. That's good, because that's I like that kind of, like, so you're just talking amongst the group, or is there still the moderator?
No, so our shaman Joe, Dr. Joe,
he wasn't in there.
He was not in there, but our guide was.
Oh yeah.
And you know, his partner, and then the rest of the group, which was how many people?
Yeah, that's still pretty cool though, because you get that group, and then you can do, like, you got those, and then even if it takes years of processing, or, you know, like, it's still nice that you have that people that have that common experience. Because isn't it partially like you come home, you have something that's like completely changed kind of your outlook on things, and then you have to, like, go back to the real world where most people are going to think this stuff sounds kooky, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's some people listening and like, what the fuck are they smoking now? You know?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's you know, if it's true what I felt, and we're all energy, we all come from this planet, we are all different, but we're all connected. Like we come from plants. These plants were on this earth way before us, right? They have a lot to teach us if we would just listen and be able to work with it. And scientists are starting to now again work with it, so which is really exciting to be able to have the science to back some of this stuff up.
Yeah, when they figured out, when they couldn't militarize it, then they didn't know what to do with it. They vilified it, and then they could. Then once it was made illegal, then you can't do any research on it. Yeah. And so it's even the same with all these drugs, that there could be real benefit to help people. We've are just at the tip of the iceberg of what we can actually do with some of this stuff.
We actually had to quarantine because of COVID for 2 weeks when we got home, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise because we got to process this trip for 2 more weeks before we were thrown back into
the
work and other people's energy, and it was a little bit of an adjustment to go back to your old life.
Yeah. Or do you want to, mm-hmm. or how's it going to be different? You kind of want it to be different somehow, that mm-hmm. it wasn't for nothing that you learned this stuff.
Just, another thing that I learned through this was no matter what you're doing, just do it and be happy, just look at it a different perspective. And if you don't like what you're doing, just, and you can't get out of it, just go look at it a different angle and just try to find enjoyment and do your best and have fun with it. Somehow. Yeah. You got to find a way.
Yeah. A lot of times.
Move on.
Yeah. A lot of times. Sorry, my back is fucked. Yeah. One of the things I learned I keep wanting to say this because you were talking about pain, is that I heard this one guy in a lecture. He said, pain is a construct of the mind. It's just a taught thing. It's not a real. It's a learned thing.
Yeah.
And they said that certain cultures, like a haircut is excruciatingly painful, but you can rip their teeth out and they don't find that to be a problem. Where in our culture, dental work is very painful, but our haircuts are painless. But. There is a cultural thing, pain, that's what the guy's trying to explain. You cut your arm off, it fucking hurts, So that's when
it's just a feeling, right? You can block that feeling.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what he was getting at. But that was one thing I wanted to say. The other thing was when we're talking about you were saying that. What were we saying just before this? There's 2 things I wanted to say. Peter, you suck balls.
Smoke another one?
I can't remember what I was going to say. Damn it. What were we saying, Lisa, right before that? Do you remember? Maybe we should just go.
Well, I have to say that my second trip was completely different than my first trip, too. I thought...
And it was the next day?
It was the very next day. I honestly didn't think I could do it, but then I went in to it and I had a really amazing experience where it was kind of trippy, where I was engulfed by the jungle and a ground crew came in rats and mice and eels and snakes kind of took, I want to say they were the ground crew, and they were taking garbage out of my body and insides and having a party in there. And
that's what I heard. I've heard similar people explain that story, saying they kind of have little creatures that come and defrag them or
Yeah, and I had another crew that came and polished up almost like a car wash. I got the deluxe car wash, and I would say they were worker bee Mexicans, miners.
Yeah,
and
all in your titties?
Yeah, they totally shined up my whole, probably what cancer did to me. But
and the Mexicans come in and do that?
Well, they were Mexican bees.
Oh, yeah?
That were miners.
That were mine. Yeah. Yeah, I had a similar thing too with my guts. There was little tiny I don't know what they were, little flashlights on them that were just checking it out. It was really dark and hollow, and it was just, yeah.
And they were fixing you too, cleaning you up?
Just checking things out.
Yeah. At one point, we both had some sort of surgery. Like, for me, it was like a red light that happened, and it was almost like they sewed up a piece, and then it was gone. And I asked, like, what that was about, and they said that it was something from childbirth, like me giving childbirth.
Oh, yeah.
And then he got a brace on his back.
Yeah, I thought that green light just came out of nowhere. The room went really dark and quiet, or at least my head did anyways. And this light, laser light, green, right up my lower back where I've got a degenerative disc. Yeah, it was just really, it was like a zipper.
A little brace. The
yeah, a
shaman
little brace. Yeah,
said.
Yeah, that's wild, eh? That's wild. And these are problems you knew you had?
Yeah, I was in hospital about 2 weeks prior to that.
Oh, yeah?
It buckled me. I have a lot of issues with my spine, right? So, like my fusion C6, C7, which causes numbness, scoliosis, my curvature of the back, stenosis, which is an area of the spine, and then bone spurs, and then degenerative disc disease in my lower back. And that's my lower back is, that's where the little tightening of the zipper went. It really.
Has it felt better?
Like I said, I've been sleeping great lately.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know what, I can't explain it, but
like how powerful your mind really is.
Mm-hmm. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. Like your mind is definitely like amazing how much damage it can do, and then how much you can do with it if you learn to control it. If it controls you, what do they say? Your brain is a good servant, but a lousy master. You know, you'd have to make sure that you use it to serve your needs rather than, you do that you're doing its bidding, you know. 'Cause, for me to get my head around the idea that I am not my brain was a big deal. That my brain isn't me, my thoughts are not me, that I'm something that's different than my thoughts, you know. Because that to me I thought that I was my thoughts, you know. My thoughts are coming out of my brain. My brain is a muscle in my body. It creates these thoughts. I can just let the thoughts float by like a leaf down the river, you know. I don't have to give the thoughts any weight or anything like that. And then who's the one deciding whether these, if it's not the guy thinking?
Your gut.
Yeah, it's something different.
Does it feel right or does it feel wrong? What thoughts? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is something different than your brain, you know. Yeah. It is probably more your gut.
And your brain's attached to your gut.
Yeah.
In some way.
Yeah, I've always heard gut feeling, right?
Yeah. You think with your gut, and you think with your heart, and you think with your brain. You know, like for reals.
Do you think this process remaps pathways in your brain?
Neurogenesis?
Yeah.
100%, I think.
It
sounds like it, by what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think you can get out of it's supposed to help addictions too, which is awesome. But I think it makes you think. It makes you look at life in just a different perspective. Maybe go roots around whatever blockages you have, because
you kind of get stuck in a pattern, in a rut, and then you keep having the same pattern over and over again, and then it just allows you to break the pattern.
Yeah, they were kind of. I thought about like a tobacco field. You know how you have the rows, and you have the hills in between the rows. Well, if you walked on the hills, it will start to push the dirt into those.
Oh,
yeah.
So you gotta.
I always use the analogy of a snow-covered mountain. It's like you got a nice fresh coat, and then you got those skiers or the sleds that go down. And there's your neural pathways, right? Yeah. Once you have that pathway, it's easier to go down that same pathway, and your thoughts are no different. You develop those pathways as a young kid. You come out of your mother's womb as a white, bright light, nice fresh coat of snow. Your life experiences from 0 to say 7 or 8. So when you're developing those experiences, those patterns are happening, and then now you're firing those same patterns over and over and over and over again. And they go deeper and deeper. So, ayahuasca or a good macro dose of psilocybin, they say, just gives you a nice fresh coat of snow on your mountains, i.e., brain, and then you can look at things from a different perspective. You can start new neural pathways, neurogenesis, different way of looking at things.
Yeah, and then part of what my therapy is to try to create more ruts, so like purposefully creating ruts of the things that I want rather than whatever I got,
What do you mean you want to purposely create more ruts? I don't get it.
Like, how you said your neural pathway is like a rut, by your subconscious, whatever is formed. Well, that's formed by the time I'm 7. I'm now let's say at 47, I'd like to make a new one. So I'm making a new rut so that I'll follow this pattern, this path, but it's a path that serves me well, that makes me happy.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where these other ones, I was left up to the randomness of what I was exposed to as a child or whatever. And then the new rut that I'm purposefully trying to create through like exercise.
That's interesting, because I think we go like the path of least resistance is what we naturally want to do. And if this puts a new path at exactly what you're doing.
Tougher what he's doing.
He's getting it like glazed over with new snow, where I'm just trying to make a new path beside the other one, kind of and then hopefully then that other path won't get used, and then it'll just start to fill in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then that's where I'm hoping. But I still notice every once in a while, because if you don't do the work, if you're not paying attention, you still have to take that easier road, because it's just it's there, and it's like so easy. So, and then I have to remind myself to, purposely go back. Maybe I've been slipping a little bit, and got to start working harder, and then you do it. So, but it is weird. Like it's the same sort of thing. You kind of get an awakening at some point in time where you're like, I get it, and then you're like, then you're like, I don't know if anybody's going to get it. Like, so then what's the point of knowing it, But then, I think over time you kind of like realize that, I don't know. I don't even know. It's just like, I don't know. It's so hard to explain. It just it just works. It's just like, it's just so much easier. Like the whole thing that I wasted my time on for so long, like all the things that I was upset about, all the things that I would like, let consume me, whether it be worry or anger or resentment or whatever, like it would be, it was all something that was just something I could have dealt with myself, It was all just something I felt. It was something I didn't deal with myself, And then it became like what I thought somebody else was thinking of me, or what this person did to me or thought of me, or what, said about me. None of that stuff would really matter at all. It's all my reaction, my
perspective,
my own personal opinions of myself and insecurities and stuff that would make me react like that, once I realized that it's just all these things that my brain's making up most of the time, then you can stop doing it, and then it's so much easier, It's like way easier, Like it's like a lot easier life. And that's a pretty simple one, Like that's a pretty simple. And the other thing that I thought was kind of funny that I learned this is just from other teachings that I learned, was like, if you're spending your life searching for something, most likely you already are that thing that you're searching for or trying to be. If you're trying to be something, most likely you're already that thing that you're trying to be. You're just not allowing yourself to be it yet. You're holding yourself back, or something in you is preventing you from allowing you to say that you're this thing that you would like to be, but you already are it most of the time. Like
what
almost,
you're looking for is where you're looking from.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly it. You know, you're just most of the time people can't see, they can't bite their own teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to bite their own teeth all the time. You just can't see yourself. You can never really see your own greatness, I guess, for lack of a better word, or like what you're bringing to other people, what you bring to the world, how you're perceived or whatever. You know, it's going to be greatly different than
self-critical,
than what how you see yourself.
Yeah, it's like so much easier to say shit than sugar, right?
Yeah.
So easy to be negative about yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know that some people really like themselves? Like that's real. Like I heard that. I started bragging. Like now I'm trying to brag, like so I can, as an exercise, to have a better opinion of myself. Yeah. But I can't do it without laughing. Like I can't. I try to be straight about like saying I'm awesome and stuff. Actually, I
love me.
Yeah,
Stuart. But you gotta love you though. You got you know.
Yeah, in a way. Big. My buddy Doug told me that he was washing dishes and he dropped the dish in his sink and he's like, "Doug, you fucking idiot," you know. And then he goes, "Oh, sorry, Doug." You know, and I was like, "Man,
that talk to you like that."
Yeah. And then I started doing that ever since he said it. And it's really helpful to apologize to yourself when you call yourself a name, you know?
Yeah. You didn't mean it.
Yeah, you didn't. I didn't really mean it. Yeah.
Just fucking with you, Doug.
Just dropped a dish. But yeah, I think, like, I'm so happy he told me that story because it totally changed the way I was like, I can apologize to myself. Well, that would make it a lot easier because I am so rude to myself.
I'm self-critical too, eh? Oh. And I heard someone say, like, well, when you have those thoughts, you know, they're just thoughts and they don't control you. They're not who you are. So you just have to recognize that and don't judge them and just blow it away.
Yeah.
Think of something else, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's really helped me a lot.
Yeah, that's one. And the other one is I have to put down what's real, like what's a fact and what's a narrative. That's the other one. That one you just said, and the fact and narrative one, those two made a huge difference for me. Just getting my head around. So, like, when I think things a lot of times, especially if I'm upset about something, I just break it down. I start breaking it down on a piece of paper if it's really bugging me. And I'll say, like, what's a fact, you know? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the fact is actually I feel this way, you know? Like, I feel like Does
that make it a fact?
The feeling is a fact. The feeling is I feel bad right now. Right? That's a fact, right? If I felt, like, let's say I was totally delusional and I felt like you were trying to kill me, right? That, I could still, a fact isn't that the fact is that I think you want to kill me, right? But it doesn't make it true. The fact that I believe that maybe is true, but it's not true that you want to kill me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So then I would have to then kind of dig a little deeper. Why do I think she wants to kill me, you know? And then I would say, well, she is pointing a gun at me. You know, that's a fact, you know? But, you know, and then I would say the rest of it, the fact that I think that she's always thought I was smarter than her and she wants to be the smartest person or whatever, then that would be like bullshit. That's just something I made up, right? Mm-hmm. Because... you wouldn't kill me for that, right? You kill me because I'm prettier than you.
Exactly.
I don't know how that. I gave a bad example, but I know I did it one time and it worked because I was like, I'm mad because I think someone doesn't respect me or someone doesn't think I'm like valuable or something like that. But really, those are things I think about myself, you know, and I'm just putting it on that person, you know. And that happens more oftentimes. And the same things, everyone's not thinking those things about me. I'm thinking that about me all the time, putting it on other people, you know. And I started noticing I was doing that quite often. And if you do it too much, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Hey. No, but it's human nature, though.
Absolutely.
It's funny how often people do it, because now that I do that exercise, I'll see people like that are just like in regular everyday life, they're complaining about something, and you hear them, and then you're like, oh, they don't even realize how many of the things they're saying are them making stuff, fill in the blanks, you know. Mm-hmm. And then you're seeing people fill in the blanks all the time, and then you don't give it as much weight either, you know. So it's kind of nice. Things will slide off my back a little easier. I don't take it personal, stuff like that. Yeah. So that reminds us, I do have a sponsor, BetterHelp. They'll help you if you have any problems. So if you are finding that you are not getting where you need to in life, and you'd like to talk to somebody and they'll help you get through this, you can go to betterhelp.com/Dutch Hall. That's betterhelp.com/Dutch Hall. betterhelp.com/Dutch Hall. You'll get 10% off your first month if you go to them. They're not a crisis counselor. They're not a self-help line. They're professional counseling done discreetly. You can talk to a counselor no matter where you are in the world, and if you're not happy at any time with your counselor, they'll send you to somebody else, so you can pick another one. We've used the product, and we've actually switched a time or two. It's been very easy to do. You'll get to talk to a counselor within 48 hours. I'm pretty happy with BetterHelp. So if you think you need to talk to somebody for any reason at all, give them a shout. Go to betterhelp.com/Dutch Hall and start living a better tomorrow today. Is that one we did?
Click for a better tomorrow.
Click for a better tomorrow, or whatever. Yeah.
It's
Beavers. I'm glad to get that out of the way. Guys, we've got our hour in. I just wanted to end the show. We usually do feedback. We got feedback, but we're not going to do it.
So late.
We have one Patreon supporter, our queen, Jen Husko. She's the only one that sent us feedback last week. She's our one and only Patreon, or one and only feedback provider. And her last week, she said 2 words in her letter to me, and it was Tina Turner. And
she was the winner?
Tina Turner. How did we forget Tina Turner until the very end? And then we threw her in kind of willy-nilly, and I'm like, yeah, Tina Turner, she's a beast. You know. Anyways, that's all we had to say. So we're going to end the show, but I want to do one thing. Me and my wife had an argument, and I needed your help to see what you guys think about this argument, okay?
Oh, goodness.
No, it's not a serious one. You know Buble? You know Bubbly?
The bubbly water?
You know the water? Well, you know the water?
Yeah.
The water?
Is that Bublé's water, actually?
No.
Oh.
But he does the ads for him. Oh. So it's Bubbly, but Buble does the bubbly ads, and he mispronounces the Bubbly, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So then you know how hard seltzers are a big thing? You know, hard seltzers? So I thought Bublé's is kind of a seltzer, so they're going to have a hard Buble, or a hard bubbly, right? And Michael Bublé already does the bubbly ads, and then they got a hard Bublé doing the hard bubbly ads, right?
Right.
And then it just writes itself, the commercial, where you say, I want a hard Bublé, and then in comes Bublé with a raging boner, and then they go, I meant hard bubbly, and he's like, my mistake, and he goes about, goes back out, right?
Jumps in a cold lake.
Yeah, hits it with a cold spoon. Whack him.
I said, I want some boob play.
So then I say that to Jane. I'm like, I throw that idea out at her, and she's like, Bublé would never do it. I'm like, what the fuck? Of course Bublé do that ad, you know? I'm not saying he's going to come out and show his boner.
He'd get a prosthetic.
You get a prosthetic boner, of course. Okay. And then, and all he's got to do, he could just wearing jogging pants, but it's just poking out. Like, you're not seeing nudity or anything, right?
Right.
So you're going, and Jane's like, he would never do an ad like that. I go, he's already doing the Bublé ads. He's already doing the bubbly ads. Like, he's already making fun of it. All he's got now is to put some sort of prosthetic erect penis into a pair of jogging pants and walk out. Add that to what he's already doing.
He'd probably hang a Buble hat off of it.
You know what I'm saying? So anyways, Jane says there's no way Buble would consider doing that. I say, of course he would do it, you know. And I'm not talking, and Buble isn't the type that's going to do it for the money. So it's not about how much money he gets paid here. He gets paid reasonably for the job, you know. But what I'm saying is, do you think Buble, as an artist, would do that commercial for that joke, for that gag? Would he do a commercial for Hard Buble where he's got to just walk in for a second with a pair of jogging pants and a prosthetic erection? Yes or no?
I'm going to say no.
You don't think Buble would do it?
No, I think he's a pretty classy guy. Maybe like he would have to have like a. That's
what my wife said exactly.
Or something.
I think he would. I think he'd love the gag.
It's not a bad bit, right?
Yeah, I don't think he would do it either. To be honest with you, I don't know. Is he married too?
He is married. Yeah, he's married. Is he married to someone famous?
I thought he got caught taking a picture of some girl's butt a few years ago and caught some heat for it too.
Oh, did he?
Well, then maybe he would. I don't know.
I'm wrong. Might be wrong though.
I don't know. Well, anyway, this is Canada. We're not that big of a country, and he's one of us. Right? So if anyone's listening to this program that knows Buble, just ask him, if there was a product, is there a product called Hard Buble yet? Does Hard Bubbly?
It mixes well with any vodka.
Number one, Bubbly, the people that make Bubbly, why don't you make a Hard Bubbly yet if you haven't made one already? It's stupid. You're going to miss the whole craze here.
Just wrote your whole advertisement for you right there.
Yeah, and then hire Buble. If he says no, let me know. Or if you know Buble, ask him. Those are the two things. Anyways, that's all I ask of you. And also, thank you very much, guys, for the candid talk about something that's very interesting. You know, I wish I would have been able to do it, but it is very interesting, and I'm glad it worked for both you guys. You do recommend it to people? Is there any caveats about ayahuasca that you would say, Did you ever hear of anybody that had a bad experience? Did anyone on your trip have a bad experience or anything like that?
No one on our trip did. No.
Everyone saw it as positive, right?
It was very positive, very love and compassion. Everybody was, very open and.
I always say, other than watching the birth of my two kids, I thought it was the best experience of my life. It was absolutely, I think, life-changing, really.
It was a rebirth of some sort, you know?
Oh, yeah. Did you mourn the death of your old self?
No. What I was asked, though, do you go to a caterpillar's funeral?
Well, a caterpillar doesn't die. It just went into a cocoon, right?
Right. You know, everybody's celebrating the birth of a butterfly.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Because I did, actually. I mourned the death of my old self. I didn't know I was doing it, but I remember I was just really sad for a while, and it felt like mourning, and I couldn't figure out why, because everything was like I had been going well, and then I kind of heard sometimes you'll do that. You'll just know that I'm never going to be that old person again that I was, because I know too much now. Like I've just passed, you know?
We forgot to mention, too, I don't know if some people are into numbers, but it was kind of weird. When we did our first ayahuasca ceremony, it was done on pretty much we took it at around 8 o'clock, but we never really started feeling effects until about, let's say, 9:21. So it was like the 21 minute of the
it was June 21st.
21th hour, 21th minute of the 21th hour, the 21th day of the 21st week of the 21st year of the 21st century.
Wow.
That's a lot of 21s.
That's when your stuff kicked in? Is that what you said?
That was our first ayahuasca experience.
Oh, yeah, you went all 21s?
Yeah, we were all 21s.
I wonder if that's lucky.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be, could not be. I believe that it's lucky.
Another really good thing that I would like to share, we were told, is if you want love, go to the beach. If you want adventure, go to the jungle. And if you want to meet God, you go to the mountains. If you want to find yourself, you go to the desert. Mm-hmm. And we were in the desert in Arizona. So.
Oh.
Which is, say that one more time. What do you get in the beach? Love?
Love at the beach. Adventure at the jungle.
Adventure in the jungle.
God in the mountains. And yourself in the
desert. What's in Norfolk County then?
It's sandy. So.
For me, I feel like it's the beach. Yeah.
Because you're at the beach. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not at the beach. I'm at the farm. I'm in the kind of like farm country. That's not the jungle, really. It's boring. I gotta leave. That's what it means. I think
you gotta do some traveling.
Looks like I gotta travel. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. I do thanks. It's been awesome talking to you guys. It's been really, really cool to find out more about this. If you guys would like to give me some feedback, you can do so at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com, or you can go to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that bullshit. We're either live from the Dutch Hall, the Dutch Hall, or whatever, or Dutch Hall. And until next week, we will see you, NT. See you next Thursday. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.